This box was actually a weapon. Upon closer inspection, Lu Zhou discovered the two items did, indeed, resemble boxing gloves. A pair of boxing gloves that could withstand attacks from heaven-grade weapons. There was no doubt this was a heaven-grade weapon as well. It seemed like this box had been a neglected treasure from the very beginning. However, Lu Zhou did not see a recommendation regarding its owner. The weapons he obtained before this would have recommended owners, but this box did not. Shouldn't it recommend Zhao Yu? An image of Zhao Yu's hands becoming iron hammers appeared in Lu Zhou's mind. That looks unnatural. In any case, there's no doubt this is a treasure, and it's not inferior to Life Cutter. Lu Zhou recalled the weapon and exited the hidden chamber. When he arrived in the great hall, he noticed little Yuana and Zhao Yu there. Zhao Yu did not return to cultivate. When she saw her master appearing, Zhao Yu bowed and said, "Greetings, master." "What's the matter?" Seven Junior Brother has sent word that the Fiend Temple's master, Rinbooping, is also in Tongzi Town. Moreover, say it. Moreover, the descendants of the 10 shamans are laying a formation. They intend on taking down Golden Court Mountain's barrier. Zhao Yu said. Lu Zhou was slightly startled inwardly, but his expression remained calm. He said, "Can old Seven's information be trusted?" Lu Yuaner spoke with an annoyed tone. Seven's senior brother isn't the only one who sent word. Jiang Aijin sent a letter as well confirming this. "Master, look, they put on a show about making peace, and yet they're scheming against us. We should have just chopped them into 8 pieces the other day." While she cursed, she took out Jiang Aijin's letter. Si Weia and Jiang Aijin notified him of the same thing at the same time. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and considered this. Everyone knew how powerful the Golden Court Mountain's barrier was. When the 10 great elites laid siege on Golden Court Mountain before this, they were helpless for a long time when it came to the barrier. However, it would be a different story if they tried to take down the barrier with a powerful formation. Moreover, the formation was being laid by the descendants of the 10 shamans and the witchcraft expert, M.O. Lee. With their expertise, it should not be a problem for them to undo the mountain's barrier without anyone noticing. Lu Zhou had to be careful when dealing with this matter. What reason could he use to act against them? He could not possibly wait until the barrier was down before he attacked them. He shook his head. "No, we're the Evil Sky Pavilion. Since when do we need a reason to do things?" Lu Zhou spoke. "Tell Mingshi Yin to hurry up. Also, bring Fan Xiuwen and the Dark Knights. In that case, we should bring the fight to them." "Yes, master." Inside Evil Sky Pavilion's North Pavilion, Mingshi Yin led several female disciples to clean up the flying chariot. This was the Evil Sky Pavilion's largest flying chariot, the Cloud-Splitting Chariot. It was narrowly oval in shape, and its upper part was streamlined. It was built completely from rare materials. The chariot was more than 100 feet long and 300 feet wide. It was completely covered in formation veins and complicated yet gorgeous patterns. Its color was slightly dark and appeared ordinary at first glance. However, upon closer inspection, one would be able to see the formation veins and ornamental patterns were carefully arranged. When primal chi was infused into it, they would produce a shocking effect. When the flying chariot crossed the night sky, it would seem like a falling meteor. A small flying chariot could be pulled by beasts. However, it could only accommodate a couple of passengers and was limited in practicality. Huge flying chariots, such as this one, were comparable to a moving house. Mingshi Yin stood nearby and mulled over this matter with his hands on his back. He switched between stroking his chin and scratching his head as he muttered, "How is the flying chariot going to fly when we don't have enough hands on deck?" To move such a huge flying chariot, they would need at least 30 Brahmin Sea cultivators and 5 Divine Court Realm cultivators. They would also need more than 20 Brahmin Sea Realm cultivators to rotate with the others. It would have been impressive for ordinary minor sects to be able to send out 1 Divine Court Realm cultivator. Brahmin C8 Meridians cultivators were the mainstays of these sects. When the Yun, Tian, and Luo sects initially joined forces, they picked more than 10 Divine Court Realm cultivators out of their tens of thousands of disciples to work with Yi Qianxin to oppose Lu Zhou. However, They were killed with just a single strike. The three sects suffered a huge loss. It was impossible for them not to hold a grudge against the evil Sky Pavilion after losing that many elites. You, come here. Ming-Shir-In pointed at one of the female disciples. Mr. Fourth, your orders? How many female cultivators are there in Derived Moon Palace? What's the highest cultivation base? In reply to your question, Mr. Fourth, we have 10 Mystic Enlightening Realm cultivators, 10 Sense Condensing Realm cultivators, and 20 Brahman Sea Realm cultivators. You don't have any in the Divine Court Realm? The female disciple shook her head. We had 3 Divine Court Realm cultivators, but one of them defected, and the other 2 were killed by the Fiend Temple after the palace master was abducted. Ming-Shir-In felt awkward as he said, So, even junior sister Qian-Xin's Derived Moon Palace has defectors. I see that she doesn't have a firm hold on her followers as well. That's why Palace Master has set a rule that those who join the Derived Moon Palace must remain chaste. That's harsh. Ming-Shir-Yin's gaze was slightly complicated as he looked at the other female disciples. The female disciple bowed slightly and went back to her work. Ming-Shir-In scratched his head again. There were only 20 Brahman Sea Realm cultivators. They were still short of hands. This would make things difficult for them. Some flying chariots had to be powered by cultivators from the outside. For this alone, the cultivators had to be capable of walking on air. The cloud-splitting chariot could be powered from within, but the problem was they did not have enough manpower. Mr. Fourth, you called? Pan Zhou and Zhou Jifeng bowed at Ming-Shir-In. Both of you came just in time. Take a look at this flying chariot. What do you think? The cloud-splitting chariot. This is a famous chariot. The pavilion master rode this chariot when he roamed the lands of Great Yen and Rongbei many years ago. His name had shocked the lands at that time. That's all good. Would you like a ride? I can tell you're dying to get on. It's all right. All you have to do is to help out later. No matter how good the flying chariot is, it would be a waste if it stays grounded. Ming-Shir-In said proudly. You have something to say? No. We're more than willing to do it. Zhou Jifeng and Pan Zhou hastily nodded. Zhou Jifeng was the Heavenly Sword sect's first disciple. His cultivation base was in the Divine Court Realm. On the other hand, Pan Zhou was from the Clarity sect. Although these two were slightly more powerful than ordinary Divine Court Realm cultivators, they were still short on hands. Little junior sister? Forget it. Little junior sister doesn't seem to be in a good mood these days. Hua Wudao, he's now an elder of the evil Sky Pavilion, after all. Also, he possesses a 6-leaf cultivation base. It would be insulting for a 6-leaf cultivator to be used as a flying chariot's power source. It would also be an insult to his identity. Fourth senior brother, Zhao Yu hurried up to Ming-Shir-In. What's the matter? Master's asking you to hurry up, Zhao Yu said. 5th junior sister, just as well. We're short of hands here. With you here, we now have 3 Divine Court Realm cultivators. However, I think we're still slightly short people. Ming-Shir-In said with a frown. When they were still discussing this matter, Lu Zhou arrived at the North Pavilion. Apart from Lu Zhou, Fan Xiuwen, and the Dark Knights, Yu Chong and Duan Yanhong were also present. The 3 of them were heavily guarded. Little Yuaner, Duan Musheng, and Hua Wudao flanked them. They walked abreast with Lu Zhou as he sauntered over. The other bowed. Master, Pavilion Master. Lu Zhou glanced at the cloud-splitting chariot. He nodded with satisfaction and said, Get on. Ming-Shir-In said, Master, Tongzi Town isn't far from Golden Court Mountain. Why don't we walk there? Using a flying chariot would draw a lot of attention. Little Yuaner covered her mouth and giggled. She said, 4th senior brother, are you telling Master to walk? Hua Wudao spoke with his hands on his back. The cloud-splitting chariot has explosive speed. I heard the descendants of the 10 shamans are in Tongzi Town right now. They're skilled in grand witchcraft formations. This chariot can bypass the formation's effects. Also, it's a great means to chase down our enemies. Grand techniques are too taxing, after all. Since we have a flying chariot, we should put a good use. Ming-Shir-In was rendered speechless by this. The others leaped onto the flying chariot. Several female cultivators tossed Fan Xiuwen and the others onto the chariot. Fan Xiuwen spoke with sour expression. It's useless to bring me along. She won't be threatened by you. Although I'm the leader of the Black Knights, life and death don't matter to me anymore. Shut up. A lowly prisoner has no right to babble on and on. Liu Yuan snapped. Shortly after, everyone was in the flying chariot. Why aren't we moving? Come on. It's been a long time since I rode the cloud-splitting chariot. Liu Yuan urged. Mingshi Yin shook his head helplessly. He had no choice but to bow and say, We're still short of 2 divine court realm cultivators to make this chariot fly. Zhou waved his hand and said, Mingshi Yin. Yes, master. You'll take the helm. A nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivator can take the place of 10 divine court realm cultivators, Zhou said. Mingshi Yin complained in dismay inwardly. No way. Why is it me again? He hastily said, Master, I'm one of the Evil Sky Pavilion's main forces. For me to power the flying chariot, isn't it slightly, Zhou's gaze fell upon Mingshi Yin. Yu Zhenghai had taken the helm for 10 years, and he had never complained. Are you more precious than him? Zhou said indifferently. I dare not suggest that. It's only a thoughtless comment. I'll take the helm right away. I'm the best at steering anyway. Mingshi Yin quickly corrected his attitude. At the same time, he leaped onto the flying chariot and took the helm just as he was told. Duan Musheng leaped onto the chariot as well. He patted Mingshi Yin's shoulder and said, Hey, don't look at me. Master has ordered me to keep an eye on our prisoners. There can't be any mistakes. Keep the chariot steady, okay? Third senior brother, you seem like an honest person, but you're dark on the inside. Mingshi Yin appeared to be in pain. He placed a palm on the cloud-splitting chariot's helm. The others took their places. The instant primal chi was injected. After being idle for a long time, the resonance was much more impressive than before. The vigorous energy activated the formation veins and patterns of the flying chariot, and the cloud-splitting chariot lit up brilliantly. The primal chi exuded from the formation veins condensed into energy, which pushed against the air outside, forming the thrust. The skies above the North Pavilion seemed to stir. The huge skiff slowly rose into the air while dragging a long tail behind. The cloud-splitting chariot rose into the air and hovered for a moment. The female cultivators who did not have the chance to board the chariot could not help but look at the sky. From their vantage point, the chariot looked like a glowing boat. Mingshi Yin suddenly felt that it was nice to man the helm at the bow. He could see Golden Court Mountain in its entirety. He said, Off we go. The flying chariot moved forward. Tongzi town isn't far away. Move at the slowest speed. Zhou ordered. Yes, master. The chariot slowed down. The others walked the sides of the flying chariot and looked down at the land, mountains, forests, and rivers. Some unique beasts could be seen flitting in and out of the clouds. The sun's rays shone on the flying chariot through the layers of clouds. The scenery was very pleasing to the eyes. Zhou said, Elder Hua, shall we? Hua Wudao was overwhelmed by this favor. He hastily made an inviting gesture as well, and allowed Zhou to walk ahead of him. The two of them walked abreast of the bow of the flying chariot. They stood at the best spot and enjoyed the scenic view. The Yun sect has 2 flying chariots. One of them is used by the sect master, while the other is used by the sect master's daughter. Even with the 2 combined, they still pale in comparison to this cloud-splitting chariot. Hua Wudao said sincerely. Zhou slowly said, It's only a means of transport. It's not significant enough to mention. A means of transport? The way you speak is like a breath of fresh air, pavilion master. Hua Wudao nodded. The cloud-splitting chariot continued moving forward. Hua Wudao gave it some consideration and decided to speak his mind. Fan Xiuwen is only a lowly prisoner. His cultivation base has been sealed. Since we're going up against the descendants of the 10 shamans to demand an explanation, why are we bringing them along? Fan Xiuwen is the leader of the Black Knights. He has a profound cultivation base. However, he's willing to kneel to me for Emoli, Zhou said. Are you saying that Mo Lee might compromise for Fan Xiuwen? Not necessarily. Zhou stroked his beard and continued. With Fan Xiuwen's knowledge and temper, I wonder what kind of woman would make him this subservient and even fearless of death. Fan Xiuwen did not strike him as the type to be hopelessly infatuated. Hua Wudao shook his head helplessly. Witchcraft. Possibly. As expected, while Wudao appeared slightly shocked. I thought that such evil controlling methods were long lost. I didn't expect to see it in this time and age. There are plenty of strange things in the great wide world, Zhou said. The flying chariot flew on. When it was approaching Tongzi town, some cultivators traveling at a lower altitude saw the flying chariot. A flying chariot. It's a flying chariot. Which great sex flying chariot is this? I can't see the flag. There aren't any inscriptions as well. It was only natural for the younger cultivators to not recognize the cloud-splitting chariot. When the older cultivators saw it, their eyes widened and they reminded the younger ones anxiously, "This is the cloud-splitting chariot. It belongs to the Evil Sky Pavilion's Jitiandao." The Evil Sky Pavilion's flying chariot? The cultivators landed. Some of them looked at the cloud-splitting chariot passing over their heads fearfully. The more cowardly ones ran away without even thinking. Back in the days, Jitiandao rode this very chariot as he roamed the lands. Isn't Jitiandao supposed to be guarding the Golden Court Mountain and enjoying his final years since his life's limit is almost up? Even a scrawny camel is bigger than a horse. Don't forget, when the 10 great elites laid siege on Golden Court Mountain previously, they were soundly defeated. The cultivators around Tongzi town were all looking at the chariot. When the Evil Sky Pavilion's Patriarch was mentioned, none of them could keep their expressions from changing. Shortly after, the cloud-splitting chariot passed by various mountains and was almost upon Tongzi town. Pan Zhong looked down at the lands. He frowned and said, "Pavilion Master, look at this. There's a dense fog rising from below. It looks fishy." "You're right. It's a perfectly sunny day. Why would there be fog?" Zhou Jifeng said, puzzled. "A grand witchcraft formation?" Little Yuaner suggested. After all, she had been to Measure Heaven River with Zhou. Apart from its color, the dense fog on the ground was exactly the same as the grand witchcraft formation she witnessed the other day. Judging by its appearance, it doesn't look like something that could be completed in 7 days, Pan Zhong said with a frown. Mingshi Yin glanced at Pan Zhong and said, "This only means they've long prepared this grand formation before they went up to the Evil Sky Pavilion." The others were surprised. Hua Wudao looked at Zhou. Zhou looked calm, and there were no changes in his expression. "It seems like that person in the palace has no intention of making peace in the first place," Hua Wudao said. "It's to be expected." Zhou was not surprised. When he saw the thickness of the fog, he knew this was no ordinary grand formation. They had prepared this for a long time. He was right to have brought the cloud-splitting chariot. Mingshi Yin. "Yes, master. Go around Golden Court Mountain." "Roger." Mingshi Yin seemed to be in high spirits at this moment. Hua Wudao nodded. "Wise move, Pavilion Master. Know yourself, know your enemy, and you'll survive 100 battles, Zhou said. The cloud-splitting chariot suddenly accelerated. It was moving at a speed that was several times faster than before. The buildings and scenery on land blurred as the chariot sped up. Pan Zhong solemnly observed the movement on land. The Evil Sky Pavilion had always been feared and respected by the people in the world. Hence, aside from Tongzi town, there were no other settlements nearby. Cultivators were also a rare sight in these parts. As the flying chariot flew in the sky, they could see the peculiar thick fog rising from the ground at many locations. The rising fog seemed to be moving toward Golden Court Mountain slowly. Some of them had already made contact with the barrier. Those who did not understand formations would think this was a natural phenomenon. The cloud-splitting chariot moved at an even faster speed. Under Mingshi Yin's guidance, Zhao Yu, Pan Zhong, and Zhou Jifeng increased their output of primal qi. The effect of the dragging tail light appeared immediately. Golden Court Mountain was huge. Going around it meant traveling for some distance. However, this was nothing for the cloud-splitting chariot. A moment later, Ming-Sher-In announced loudly, "We're almost at Tongzi Town again." He had intentionally added the word again to tell everyone the cloud-splitting chariot was about complete in orbit around the town. Pan Zhong said, "Pavilion Master, it's clear there are only formations 3 miles south of Golden Court Mountain in a semicircle. There aren't any formations in other places." Zhou nodded and said, "The descendants of the 10 shamans aren't the 10 shamans, after all. They can't accomplish what the 10 shamans could." Hua Wudao chimed in, "The 10 shamans were highly accomplished witchcraft cultivators. However, it's already a commendable feat for the descendants of the 10 shamans to be able to lay a grand formation spanning 3 miles. The cloud-splitting chariot slowed down. The glowing tail faded substantially as well. Meanwhile, the red-robe cultivators who were preparing the grand formation around Tongzi Town stopped what they were doing and looked up into the sky. The huge cloud-splitting chariot had caught their attention. The 30 red-robe cultivators quickly gathered into 3 rows. Wu Sheng and Wu Guan looked at the chariot. "It's the Evil Sky Pavilion's flying chariot." A strange smile appeared on Wu Guan's face. "So, they couldn't wait in the end. The Fiend Temple has agreed to work with us. I wonder when they'll arrive." A red-robe cultivator asked. Before he received an answer, whiz, the cloud-splitting chariot's sound reached them from the horizons. At this moment, the cloud-splitting chariot was slowing down and descending. When the primal chi was withdrawn, the glow from the cloud-splitting chariot faded as well. Without the radiance of its exterior, it resembled a flying skiff. The flying chariot drew level with the trees and stayed there. Wu Sheng and Wu Guan's eyes twitched as they witnessed the scene. On the flying chariot, Zhou and Hua Wudao stood at the helm, looking down at them from above. The red-robed cultivators did not leave. Instead, they flew toward the flying chariot. They rose to the cloud-splitting chariot's level and bowed in unison. Wu Sheng offers his greetings to old Senior Ji. Zhou observed the 30 red-robed cultivators with his hands on his back. He asked bluntly, "How's the grand formation coming along?" Wu Sheng shuddered inwardly. The Evil Sky Pavilion was clearly aware of their formation. However, that was not important. He quickly said, "What are you talking about, Pavilion Master? We're only ordered to stay in Tongzi Town for a few days." Conversations such as this one served no other purpose other than to stall for time. Zhou asked, "Where's M.O. Li?" "Lady M.O. is in the Divine Capital." "I wonder what business do you have with the lady, Pavilion Master?" "I can convey your message to the lady," Wu Sheng said again. Zhou looked at the red-robe cultivators indifferently. They were not afraid, secretly covered the Evil Sky Pavilion. Work can take down the mountain's barrier, and yet they were playing dumb. Indeed, they were a hypocritical and shameless bunch of people. He said calmly, "I applaud you for your bravery." The red-robe cultivators were taken aback. They had difficulty understanding Zhou's words. Ming-Sher-In shouted coldly, "How dare you plot against Golden Court Mountain? Are you sick of living? You'd better destroy this formation, kneel and surrender. Perhaps my master might spare your lives then." Wu Sheng turned to look at Ming-Sher-In, who was standing at the helm. He wore an innocent expression on his face as he said, "Formation? I'm afraid I don't understand." Zhou shook his head and sighed before he said, "Duanmu Sheng, since they don't know what we're talking about, enlighten them." "Yes, master." Duanmu Sheng was overjoyed. He brandished his overlord spear as he leaped off the flying chariot. When Zhou saw the chairs prepared by his disciples, he motioned to Hua Wudao to take a seat. "Please." "Thank you." Both of them were seated at the helm as they watched the battle in the air. Wu Sheng did not expect the Evil Sky Pavilion would strike without warning. At this moment, he knew the 10 shamans' descendants' plan had been exposed, so he quickly said, "Retreat!" The 30 red-robe cultivators fell back in the air. Their formation was scattered. Duanmu Sheng, with his overlord spear in hand, made a beeline for Wu Sheng and Wu Guan. 1,000 waves. Wu Sheng frowned slightly. He raised his arms. Bam! A faint purplish light circle appeared before Wu Sheng and parried the spear's shadows. Both parties reeled from their first exchange. As expected of a nascent divinity tribulation, realm witchcraft cultivator, Wu Sheng and Wu Guan hovered in front, while the remaining 28 red-robed cultivators kept their distance. Currently, both their attitudes were completely different from when they were in the Evil Sky Pavilion. Wu Sheng straightened his back and said, "I was sincere when I visited the Evil Sky Pavilion. Since the Evil Sky Pavilion is being unreasonable, I have no choice but to defend myself." Liu Yuaner, who was standing on the edge of the flying chariot, was incensed when she heard this. She cursed, "Shameless!" Third senior brother hit him. Duan Mu Sheng did not bother wasting word with this person, his temper flaring up. They were clearly scheming against the Evil Sky Pavilion, and yet they were acting so righteous. He spun his Overlord Spear, and the primal chi around him stirred. The Overlord Spear was wrapped in energy as he launched rapid attacks at his opponent. The Divine One Spear technique, 1,000 waves, thousands of spear shadows, shot toward his target.